The fourth stage is the magic. This is a stage where, out of nowhere, the idea will often appear. It will come when you're least expecting it, while shaving, bathing, or most often when you're half awake in the morning. It may waken you in the middle of the night, was how James Young described it. Hey, it's Bilal, and this is Deep Sea, the podcast about seeing the world more deeply. There are some areas of life that appear to lend themselves to training and systems. Think about using spreadsheets, coding, maths, law, accounting, or medicine. For these, we can easily imagine how to move from beginner to advanced stage with the right discipline and approach. But other areas like art, creativity, and more generally ideas seem to belong to another realm altogether. Here, it's about inspiration, gut instinct, luck, or some other kind of magical experience. We imagine the recluse writer crouched over their desk trying to write their masterpiece, a slightly mad artist painting, or a musician gifted with the voice of the gods. Because of this way of thinking, we try to train to improve our so-called hard skills and leave creativity and ideas to chance. Yet I found that one can train to systematically come up with ideas and be creative. In fact, I've been following a system for years, but it took a book for me to realize it. That book was called A Technique for Producing Ideas. It was written by James Webb Young, an advertising executive who wrote it way back in 1942. One of his best insights was to demystify what an idea is. For him, an idea is nothing more or less than a new combination of old elements. And he added that the ability to bring old elements into new combinations depends largely on the ability to see relationships. In describing it this way, for me at least, he lowered the bar on originality. So I didn't need to come up with something that had never been thought of before. Instead, I needed to come up with the right new combination of old elements for an idea to be appropriate for the time we're in today. Now, as for the system, there are 5 steps. The first is to gather raw material. This would be specific to your area of focus, but also would include general information and knowledge. This second type means becoming curious about all fields. I personally do this by reading lots and lots of different types of magazines, web articles and books, listening to podcasts, and watching films, documentaries, and videos. The different types of mediums allow me to always have something to consume, whatever the mood I'm in. So if I feel like something light, I might watch a YouTube video or read a blog, or if I feel like something more involved, I'll read a book. The reason for hoovering up this information goes back to James Young's point about an idea is the result of a new combination of existing ideas from diverse fields. Think about Steve Jobs using his calligraphy classes to help him design fonts for Apple. I keep notes of all the knowledge I gather. So for example, after listening to a podcast, I would note down the main points in my Notes app on my phone. I've used lots of other types of Notes app over the years. I've used Evernote, OneNote, but in the end, I find the native Notes app on my Apple iPhone sufficient. If I don't have my phone near me, I'd physically write down the ideas and points on a piece of paper, which later I'd use my phone to take a photo of so that I have a record of the notes in the cloud. The second step is to reflect and actively ponder over the material. James Young wrote that you should feel them all over with the tentacles of the mind, and that facts sometimes yield up their meaning quicker when you do not scan them too directly. So this is the active reflection phase of coming up with ideas. Little ideas will come up, I note them down, I get tired, but I carry on. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you can't see anything new or interesting, and this leads us to stage 3. This is a stage where you distract yourself. You put the problem out of your mind. Now it's time to distract yourself with whatever inspires you and get your emotions going. This could be listening to music, watching a film, reading a novel, going for a run. For me, movies are a nice distraction, or walking or running in nature, the other one for me. The fourth stage is the magic. This is a stage where, out of nowhere, the idea will often appear. It will come when you're least expecting it, while shaving, bathing, or most often when you're half awake in the morning. It may waken you in the middle of the night, was how James Young described it. This is the magical part of creativity, and we've all experienced it. An idea or solution just pops into your head in the most unlikely situation. It happens to me most often after I've had a good night's sleep, where my subconscious has been working on the problem, and often soon after while I'm showering. It's for this reason I have a waterproof note in my shower where I can write down the ideas while I'm under the water. And yes, I do have a notepad in the shower. Finally, the reality phase. This is the phase where you take your idea out into the world of reality. In the words of Jung, when you do this, you usually find that it's not quite a marvelous child it seemed when you first gave birth to it. People often don't get to this stage. We're either scared of failure or we're worried that someone may steal the idea. On the first, if we allow fear to stop us bringing the idea to reality, we'll end up with a scrapbook of ideas and nothing else. On the second, we have to remember that almost all ideas are really new combinations of old ideas, so we're not really as original and clever as we think we are. So we need to get over our pride and expose our idea to criticism. Now, some people are energy sappers who will criticize everything, so you need to be wary of their criticisms, but there are others who will criticize with genuine interest, and it's here that you end up finding that a good idea has self-expanding qualities. It stimulates those who see it, who then add to it, and so possibilities you overlooked will come to light. Of course, some, if not most ideas will go down like a lead balloon, and you can just put that down to experience. So, contrary to expectation, there is indeed a system for creativity in coming up with ideas. It has 5 simple steps. Number 1, gather knowledge. Number 2, actively reflect until you're exhausted. Number 3, distract yourself away from the problem. Number 4, let the magic happen as the idea comes out of nowhere. And finally, number 5, expose the idea to the world of healthy criticism. I've been using this for years and it really works. You can get more details in the show notes, which can be found on my blog, bilalhafiz.com. Please tell a friend about the podcast, leave a rating on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, or wherever you go for your podcast. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BilalHafiz123 on Facebook, or you can follow me on my blog. I'll be back soon, so tune in then.